welcome to the first video episode of the Fantasy Theory podcast. Bringing it for the real thing. We are finally live on YouTube. Not live. Live is a lie. It's not live at all because I'm going to have a heck of a time editing this thing down. Not so much with the video editing just yet. Not so much with the podcast editing, but, you know, we do what we can. Why am I still wearing these? Let's get these off. Don't need those. And we're back. So, got the setup all done finally. Got the right background. Struggling with kind of where I was gonna set this up, but I think we got it figured out here. Got old Johnny Elway's football over here. Got Cam Akers. There he is. Got Cam Akers' jersey on the board there. Today, what we're going to be doing is a best ball draft on Underdog Fantasy. If you haven't tried it out, it's a lot of fun. If you like mock drafting and things like that, if you do that to pass the time, this is a way to do that and also probably make a couple of bucks at the end of the season. You're not going to see your money back anytime soon, but could be a decent paycheck at the end of it if you follow my advice. Absolutely. And a lot of other people's advice. We're going to have a show, actually should be, I think, next week about making sure that you're listening to multiple points of view, but we'll get more into that in that episode. So as usual, we will start with the scuttlebutt.
So what do you guys hear? What's the scuttlebutt?
It's after June 1st, and nothing really has happened, which isn't terribly surprising, I guess. It's a little disappointing. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more, so we had something to talk about here today. But Julio Jones still in Atlanta. The team that he's going to changes by the day. So right now, I think it's Seattle is the favorite. Tennessee was the favorite, so it'll probably be, I don't know who moving forward, but we'll get an answer on this at some point. He's not at OTAs yet, so it does seem like him being traded is likely to happen. Also, no news on Aaron Rodgers. He is also not at OTAs, so he has forfeited his $500,000 workout bonus, and for each mandatory day that he misses, I think they can fine him up to $93,000 total. It's a little bit for the first day, a little more for the second day, and like almost $50,000 for the third day. So, but you know, like I said, he's already forfeited $500,000, so whatever, the $93,000, he'll shrug that off, I'm sure. And then Rex Burkhead signed with the Texans because why not? They've got David Johnson and Mark Ingram and signed Philip Lindsay, and if there's one thing they need, it's another old busted running back. So Rex Burkhead off to the Texans as well. Yeah, I don't know. David Johnson still likely to be at least the 1A. Philip Lindsay probably the 1B. Rex Burkhead and Mark Ingram the irrelevant guys. Houston's in trouble. Houston's in a lot of trouble. But at least they have their first round pick next year, so it's not going to all be for naught. So like I said, we are going to do a best ball draft here on Underdog. So for those of you we're getting closer. I tried to do this the other night, and for whatever reason, it took a long time to draft. I must pick the worst possible times to draft. Like the first 3 of these that I did, I think they filled in a matter of like 2 minutes, and I waited for some time on Monday. I think Monday is when I tried it. So in any event, we'll get there this time. But a best ball draft, if you're not familiar with it, is just the draft. There's no in-season movements. There's no setting your lineup. There's no trades. There's no waiver wire. None of that. The app will set your best lineup every week. So at the end of the week, it'll plug in all of your top scorers into the positions where they fit, and it'll give you your best possible score that week. And that's it. That's it. So you're going to want to take people who have high upside, like your boom bust players, in years past, that being Deshaun Jackson, people like that. people who have the wide range of outcomes that I always preach against, they are more valuable in best ball because those weeks that they go off, they will be in your lineup. There's no hit or miss on, you start them on a week where they score you 2 points and then bench them on a week where they go off for, 16 or 18 points. In best ball, they're going to be in there every time that they go off, and they're going to be out of there when they stink. So those people with those volatile range of outcomes are people that are actually decent to have on your team. Other things that are kind of opposite of what you might know from redraft, stacking, which you probably know from daily fantasy, is key here. So being able to capitalize on those games where the quarterback throws 2 touchdowns to the same guy, you get all of those points if you've got the stack there. So stacking your quarterback with a wide receiver or with a tight end, you love to see that. You get all those points in the games where they kind of blow up. And one thing that I don't think you'll pretty much ever see me do, that again is kind of the opposite of redraft. The high tier tight ends, your Kelce's, your Kittles, your Wallers, things like that. I don't care for them at all in best ball. I generally am going to take 2, maybe 3 of the tight ends in the lower tiers because, by and large, if your tight end gets you 50 yards and a touchdown, that's going to be starting worthy. So if you have a couple of tight ends who have that kind of potential, here and there, you're gonna get those tight end 1 weeks out of them. Your Kelce, he's going to be certainly consistent. And if you take him early, you probably don't need to take more than maybe 1 other tight end to kind of cover you in a bye week and maybe get the a blow up game or something like that. But that's not my preferred strategy. I generally am going to take, Jonnu Smith, Dallas Goedert, even people lower than that, and just, kind of play the upside game, essentially, and just hope that I can kind of spike a touchdown, every week between the handful of them that I have. The other thing is that the high-end handcuffs are pretty valuable. You're gonna spend a later pick on them, but if they get the opportunity, they're going to go right in and they're going to really juice your team. This is, again, not one where you have to make waiver decisions or start-sit decisions and things like that. So having somebody like that, they're not going to clog up your bench like in a redraft league where you want those other movable pieces. You're going to get the best lineup each week. So if you have really high upside people on your bench and they're there for the whole season, that's fine. Once their upside is realized, if their upside is realized, right in they go. So as you can see, it is not filled just yet. Ooh, we're getting closer. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording until this thing is full, and then we'll go ahead and we'll fire her up. All right, we're filled. So we got the 5th pick. I'm not a huge fan of picking in the middle. I would much rather be on one end or the other. I guess the bonus is that it gives me more time to talk between picks. We're not going to be so slammed to pick back to back or anything like that. So I guess that's nice. So we'll see how it turns out. I've been somewhere between like 5 and 8 in, this is I think my 4th best ball draft on Underdog here. And I've been in that range every time. I don't know. I don't love it. We'll certainly make the most of what we've got here and play the board with, the hand that we're dealt, but it's not my preference. So we'll see which 4 running backs go off the board here, unless we have a guy like, these are paid leagues, by the way, so you can't just come in here and like mess around. Like ESPN, you go in there and do a mock draft and somebody's going to take a kicker in the first round and then everything's out the window. So this is actually much better. The ADP that you get from this is more real because people are paying and doing this for real. Dalvin Cook with the 101. My goodness. If you're Pizza K, you have to be amped up. But anyway, I did one the last weekend, in any event, whenever it was. I did one, and a guy, he paid his $5 to get in. It's a $5 league, 12 teams. There's Christian McCaffrey with the number 2, and then Alvin Kamara at the 103. He took a Buccaneer in every round. Like, round 1 was Mike Evans. Round 2 was Tom Brady, Gronk, Leonard Fournette. just every round until they were all gone, and then he started taking. I think it just went on auto pick, but I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. Some, by and large, people are very, very reasonable at this. All right, Tyreek Hill. All right, so we're off to a weird start here. Christian McCaffrey doesn't go first. Tyreek Hill goes with the 4th pick. It's best ball, so like, I personally am gonna stack up a lot of receivers. Like we start. You can see the. No, you can't. No, you still can't. All right, get out of here. Get out of here. I'll show you the roster here in just a moment. Ugh. Off to a bad start, guys. Off to a bad start. I spent too much time talking. And we auto-drafted Saquon Barkley. That is not who I wanted to take. It's fine. He's not awful, obviously, but I think I would have taken Jonathan Taylor, who is still on the board at this point. But I think I would have taken Jonathan Taylor, maybe Derrick Henry, but not Saquon Barkley. Oh, my man's Cam Akers at the 108. There it is. I'm trying to watch this I can't even get on the camera. I'm trying to watch this in the recording and reach behind me and touch it. I got no depth perception on this thing, that's for sure. All right, so after we take Saquon, Derrick Henry goes, likely the best running back on the board at that point. Then Ezekiel Elliott, likely maybe the next best. And then Cam Akers, easily the next best. Probably should have gone beforehand. He's going to be a monster this year. I really do believe that. And then Travis Kelce, so somebody who does not subscribe to my plan of taking multiple late tight ends. But this guy will probably take one more tight end at most. Maybe 2, I guess, depending on how the board falls. But I wouldn't expect him to take more than 2. And then Jonathan Taylor goes, followed by Austin Eckler and Joe Mixon and Devontae Adams for the Wu-Tang Killer Bees. I think this is probably the best way to look at it, at least for now, until we're back on the clock. So running back receiver here. Let's actually look. Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones. All right. And then my man's here has a running back. Who did he take? We're going to keep switching back and forth here. He took Jonathan Taylor like a real smart man. Does he take Nick Chubb? Does he take Diggs or A.J. Brown? What's A.J. Brown's value with the possibility that Julio Jones comes to town? I mean, that's probably not awesome for him. He does take A.J. Brown. All right. Hopefully Julio Jones stays the hell away. Then Nick Chubb goes. Looks like we'll probably get a good receiver here. I don't generally, I don't know, we might, depending on who's there, we might take a running back. I generally start with my first pick being a running back, almost a hard lock. And then I take a few receivers in a row. All right, so Calvin Ridley's there. I do think I like Calvin Ridley. All right, now it's our turn. So I do like Calvin Ridley better than Hopkins and Antonio Gibson. We're going to put the star on him here, so just in case I run out of time, I've got 10 seconds left here. Yeah, I think Calvin Ridley is my highest ranked player. Like I said, I don't want to take George Kittle. Antonio Gibson, probably fine, but yeah, I think Calvin Ridley's the guy for us here. So we're gonna take him. Excellent. Much better than the auto draft on the first one. Oh, you hate to see it. All right, while we have a second. There it is. So 3 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and a quarterback. No kickers, no defense. You love to see it. It is half PPR, 6 points per passing touchdown, 6 points per rushing touchdown. Oh, sorry, 4 points per passing touchdown. Sorry about that. 4 points per passing touchdown, which is important because that means that we're going to more highly value people like Kyler Murray, like Josh Allen, even Jalen Hurts, people that are going to run the ball in a handful of times are going to be pushed up ahead of your more pocket passers, your people who are going to pass for 35 touchdowns versus like a Murray that's going to pass for 28 touchdowns, but then rush in 6, 7 more than that, even maybe. So we'll kind of try and prioritize that. All right, so after we take Calvin Ridley, let's switch back to this here. After we take Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins goes, then Antonio Gibson, George Kittle, and DK Metcalf. So 1, 2, 3, 4 people started running back. Worth noting, I listened to a lot of the BDGE podcast, which I do highly recommend if it's super entertaining at the very least. But he interviewed the guy who won Underdog's Millionaire. Is it called Millionaire Maker? Whatever their $1 million tournament is, where the first prize is $1,001. And in his team that he won the $1 million with, he had 4 running backs. He took one really early high-end one, Derrick Henry, I want to say, but then he had like David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, and somebody else who I don't remember. But he just didn't hammer running backs like you probably will in redraft. So that's something else to keep in mind. Oh my goodness, we're back on the clock. All right, J.K. Dobbins, Keenan Allen. I don't really love J.K. Dobbins, especially in half PPR. He's not going to catch many passes. So we're going to go with Amari Cooper here. I think he's the best receiver on the board. I do like him ahead of Keenan Allen. I think that the Dallas offense is going to be pretty insane this year, and I do think that Amari Cooper is. I do think that Amari Cooper is the number one, not CeeDee Lamb. So while I was gabbing about the roster and the setup and things like that, let's see. Here, let's go back to this. So we had DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Gibson, George Kittle, DK Metcalf go off the board, and then Michael Thomas. So we got running back, 2 receivers, 2 running backs and a tight end, 2 running backs and a tight end, 3 receivers for this guy. This is pretty aggressive. I can't wait to see how the rest of his roster fills out. 2 receivers and a running back for us. The wrong running back, but what can you do? I'm a big knucklehead. 2 receivers and a running back. 2 running backs and a receiver here. Allen Robinson goes. Terry McLaurin, Cam Akers, Najee Harris, the youth train over here. First quarterback off the board here, Patrick Mahomes. This is another one, I think, like tight end, where I don't, especially, I shouldn't say that. I don't like reaching for quarterbacks even more so in best ball than in redraft. I don't like to reach for quarterbacks in redraft, but in best ball, this is another one where I'm going to get a couple of them, and through the course of the year, you're probably going to have some pedestrian weeks with your quarterbacks, but you're going to get those blow-up games where they play an easy defense or a really good offense and throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns and end up in that top 5 quarterback on the week. And like I said, you'll always get those blow-up finishes. So I don't like to the safety of a Patrick Mahomes, of a Travis Kelce, of a George Kittle is not what I'm looking for, where they've got that really finite range of outcomes. I'm looking for the blow-ups. All right, we're getting almost back to us here. So CeeDee Lamb goes, and then Julio Jones at the back of the 3rd. I think that's probably really good value no matter where he ends up. J.K. Dobbins does fall into the 4th, going right after Mike Evans. Miles Sanders in the 3rd. I don't know about Miles Sanders. I think the Eagles have told us that they don't like him very much. Ooh, the next buck goes off the board, Chris Godwin. The Eagles have told us they don't like Miles Sanders in a workhorse role. We will not see him in that workhorse role. And I think with Jalen Hurts probably rushing for a few touchdowns, he maybe vultures Miles Sanders a little bit. I don't know. I don't like Miles Sanders at around 3 value. All right, let's go back to our possible picks and see. Now, All right. So David Montgomery is likely my pick. Maybe Travis Etienne. Of the people in this range, I certainly don't like Josh Jacobs. I don't really want Robert Woods or Adam Thielen. I definitely don't want Mike Davis. Mike Davis is somebody that I'll talk about here in a second when I'm not on the clock. Cooper Kupp, Myles Gaskin. Yeah, Kyler Murray would be nice. Maybe we can get him in round 5. We'll see. But we're going to go with David Montgomery. David Montgomery, his end of season, like his whole season last year was much better than you would expect for David Montgomery. I was actually doing some research on him today. But his end of season was ridiculous. Certainly not the toughest schedule in the world, but just a really, really efficient. He got a hell of a workload. Tariq Cohen is coming back, so that'll eat into a little bit of his role, but really not that much. I do expect him to probably repeat as maybe not a number 1 again. He finished as I think, depending on your scoring format, somewhere in the 4 to 6 range last year. I don't think he's got that ceiling still, but as a high end 2, top 15 guy, I think there's certainly every chance for that, especially with the better quarterback play that they're going to have this year. I think he's got a real shot to really impress here. Mike Davis, like I said, we'll talk about. He is somebody that I will avoid like the plague in best ball, because when he took over for Christian McCaffrey last year, he came out of the gates very hot. The more touches that he got, though, as the weeks went on, he went down and down and down steadily. He still had, I think, 2 games where he was still really productive, over 15 fantasy points, but by and large it was under 10. And it seems like Mike Davis is not going to be somebody who is going to hold up all year, and especially at the end of the year, give us those blow-up games to help us win the league. So Mike Davis, not somebody that I care to have on my team. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp go around him, followed by Kenny Golladay. Let's see, where's my man's? All right, so he's the one. All right, so he's got DK, Michael Thomas, and Kenny Golladay. Not a bad start. Ooh, and Kyle Pitts. Little bit early for Pitts for me, but that's me personally. Like I said, something that we want to look at is stacking. So where we got just 2 quarterbacks off the board. It is possible that we'll want to look, rather than Kyler Murray, we'll want to look at maybe Dak Prescott here to stack with Amari Cooper. That might be the pick if we can get him here. Let's look at the quarterbacks here. So they've got Dak with an ADP. Oh, Kyler Murray just went, so that makes it easy for us. I'm going to highlight Dak Prescott here. Dak Prescott with an ADP of 58.5. Boop. Oh man, does it not show you on the website? On the app on your phone, it tells you which total number of pick you're at. So let's get the quarterback out of there. But yeah, Dak Prescott, I think, is who we're going to go with. Number 1 to stack with Amari Cooper. Like I said, I don't like Josh Jacobs. Travis Etienne, I'm just not sure of his role. Tyler Lockett, definitely somebody I would love to have. We're definitely not going to get him here, but Tyler Lockett's got those week-winning games, where he's going to catch 140 yards and 2 touchdowns from Russell Wilson. So Tyler Lockett, definitely somebody I would like to have, but I think stacking Dak with Amari Cooper is going to give us those weeks where Amari Cooper, he certainly has that potential too. Amari Cooper's a beast. So I think with the outlook that I have for the Dallas offense this year, I'm pretty happy to have that stack. Myles Gaskin goes. This is another one, like, especially in the 5th round. Like, is Myles Gaskin going to be the starter all year? If he stays healthy, is he going to be the starter all year? It's the most likely, probably, but a lock, no. And that's like that, having that landmine on your team. I don't love that. Tyler Lockett then goes. Great pick here. Let's go back to the draft board here, so we can see kind of how these teams are going. So the guy took Tyler Lockett. He's got 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers. I don't like this because you start 2 running backs and then you have the 1 flex. And I don't think that Chris Carson is going to be your flex most weeks. So I feel like I don't know. I don't love this pick. This guy's got the 2 high running backs and then Terry McLaurin, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Having 2, this is the kind of stack that I don't love. You've got 2 Cincinnati receivers, and they're never going to combine to be awesome, like your quarterback and your tight end, your quarterback and your receiver. They're never going to combine to be awesome because every touchdown that T. Higgins catches is one that Jamar Chase is not catching. So I don't love that stack, and then it makes you a little bit worse on your bye weeks as well, that your 2 of your 3 top receivers are both going to be on bye on the same week. This team's got Kelsey, Mahomes. You love to see that stack. Still only the 1 running back. That's not a problem at all. DJ Moore and Brandon Ayuk. I'm not the biggest DJ Moore guy. Cortland Sutton, that's super high upside, especially if Aaron Rodgers comes to town. Chase Claypool, the pick here. You guys can't see my cursor. So Chase Claypool, the most recent pick. He's a guy that's got super good upside, and I think is in line to take a step forward in year 2. That's another thing that we'll talk about eventually on the podcast. Moving back to the 5th round, we'll finish recapping that. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, I know this is kind of jumping a little bit, and it's not going over the draft in full. I really, really do encourage you either watch it on YouTube, and if you do watch it on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will post the draft board in the Instagram probably won't show it well enough, but I'll put it in our Twitter. So if you want to follow along with the board, it will be in the Twitter, so that way you can kind of keep up with everything. Because I know I haven't gone pick by pick and recapped each of these. These move pretty fast, and I want to give you my insight rather than just read off the image that you can see here. So I'm hoping that the most value is being provided to you with the way that I'm doing it rather than going pick by pick. We will finish out the 5th round, though. We're in almost the end of the... I did it again. I got to put people in the queue here so that stops happening. We took Kareem Hunt in the 6th round. I hate it. I hate it so much. Oh, boy. Who? Chase Edmonds just wouldn't have wanted him. Will Fuller probably would have been... Yeah, Will Fuller probably would have been my man's there. I would have taken another wide receiver. We have 3 running backs now. I hate it. I really don't want to have Kareem Hunt here. So let this be a lesson to you. Like I said, these drafts do move very, very quickly. So just keep your eye on it like I am not doing. Maybe I do need the headphones so that it can give me the tone when I'm up, and I can pay more attention to that. And certainly this is not the only one of these that will do. So I'll be a little bit more practice and paying more attention to this, so this kind of thing stops happening to us. It's not the worst thing in the world to have Kareem Hunt, so I'm not terribly upset about it. He's going to catch a lot of passes. It's half PPR, so that's certainly helpful. And again, if anything happens to Nick Chubb, that's going to be really great. All right. So our team 1, he just took Jalen Hurts at the end of the 6th round. We've had since we took Dak as the 4th quarterback, 4 more quarterbacks have gone. Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts. Russell Wilson, another kind of like Mike Davis, where he's going to give you those blow-up games, certainly, but history has shown us that as the season progresses, Seattle pulls back the reins on the passing game, and they rely on the run more and more as the season goes on. Russell Wilson's splits in the first 8 games and the last 8 games are ridiculous. The contrast in those is ridiculous. So Russell Wilson, not somebody that I'm after in best ball. Boy, Will Fuller still hasn't gone. Oh, we're back on the clock. Give me Will Fuller. Give me Will Fuller. Yes. It's funny, Trey Sermon is the other person that I wanted. I've talked about on the podcast before that I don't think... Oh, Trey Sermon. I was not on the clock. See, I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much is what the problem is. So Trey Sermon would have been the only other consideration for me, and he went the pick just before us, so we will take Will Fuller here. Trey Sermon, I've talked about before on the podcast, is not somebody whose talent I truly believe in, but his situation in San Francisco, I think, is a really nice one, especially with My Name is Jeff Wilson being down for at least half the season. It's going to be Raheem Mostert, and Trey Sermon is probably going to be the number 2 there. So he's certainly going to get his shot at it with the way that Kyle Shanahan likes to run his offense. Boop. All right, Damian Harris, certainly somebody who's got a lot of upside if he gets that starting job, as I think that he will. And then Raheem Mostert, who is likely to be the number 1, getting the lion's share of the carries there in San Francisco, but that's not, he's going to be in a committee no matter what. So even the lion's share is just the majority of half, really. So, maybe 60-40 or 50-30-20 split with the other players in that backfield. Joe Burrow. Wow. Joe Burrow goes ahead of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Trey Lance. Trey Lance, somebody who you can take who might have some really nice upside at the end of the year when you get into the playoffs and things like that, and help you kind of wrap out the league. What Trey Lance can do with his feet is going to be pretty incredible. James Robinson and Jerry Jeudy, in the opposite of that order, are the next 2. Jeudy is another one like Courtland Sutton. If Aaron Rodgers comes to Denver, his ceiling goes through the roof, and getting him at the 709 is going to be an absolute steal. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come, then he's probably very much worth the 709. James Robinson with the 10th pick. Depending on his role, I think he is probably the favorite to lead in carries, at least at the start of the year. That uncertainty makes me hesitant to take James Robinson in a best ball, where if his role dips, I can't trade him if I think that his role is about to dip and get value off of him that way. I've just got him all year, and that scares me more than it does in a redraft league. Marquise Brown next. Aaron Rodgers does finally go, and then Tony Pollard, the first of the big backups, goes at the start of the 8th round. I do really like... Actually, I'm going to pop this out for me, and then hopefully that way, boom. Hopefully that way I don't miss that I'm back on the clock here in a couple of picks here. 5 picks away for us. So I do like how it shows you what is on a player's roster. It's got these awesome color codes here so you can see where they're stacked and where they're not. So you can kind of help to make your decisions. I think a lot more helpful when you're on the end, so you can kind of play who's going to come back to you with 2 or 4 picks in between your picks. When you're in the middle, it's not as important. You're just taking whoever your guy is. So like this guy, B. Bell, let's look at his team. He's got 4 running backs. He's got Zeke, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Carson, and Raheem Mostert, and only 2 receivers. I hate it. I hate it. At the end of the drafts, Underdog will show you who they expect to win the league, who's got the most projected points. So we'll get a look. But I think B. Bell, for me, not it. Everybody drafts their own team, and you want to draft a team that you feel comfortable with. So absolutely do you. Wow, Tyler Higbee goes in round 8. All right, so here I do want another receiver, and I think Devonta Smith is going to be that man. The other receivers that we have, I'm going to just click him just to be safe. Jalen Waddle up there, Laviska Shenault, Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, Brandon Cooks. None of these people have the kind of upside that Devonta Smith has. Any running backs here that we might be interested in? Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Zach Moss. Nope, not at all. Could take our second quarterback. Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance. Yeah, not super interested in it. And like I said, Dallas Goedert is one of the tight ends that I like to aim for. We'll see if he comes back. But given that we've got Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert probably not somebody that I want. And he goes with the very next pick. So we take Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert off the board. Next guy. And then Jarvis Landry. Pizza Cat takes his fourth receiver in Brandon Cooks. So he's got Brandon Cooks, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, and Cooper Kupp to go with Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift, George Kittle. You love those picks. Justin Herbert, you love that too. His receivers, I'm sure at the end of the day he'll end up with 3 startable ones each week. So even though they're not people that you would necessarily love to have, like Cooper Kupp as your wide receiver 1 in redraft, you can't love that. But the mix of these guys, they should produce enough decent weeks that he's got 3 good starters each week. Our Altruius, the guy that went first overall, took Dalvin Cook like a maniac. Takes his second quarterback, Matt Stafford, to go with Jalen Hurts. Also takes Jalen Waddle. Does he have any stacks with his Eagles or his Rams quarterback? Nope. Did our man that took Justin Herbert take Keenan Allen? Nope. Our third team does not have. Oh, we're back on the clock here. Let's get a player real quick. There are 3 Bucks here: Zach Moss, Laviska Shenault, maybe James Conner, A.J. Dillon, McCole Hardman, Gus Edwards, Matt Ryan. Yeah, Matt Ryan doesn't help us out a lot. Yeah, man, oh man. Yeah, wide receivers are getting hit pretty hard. So we'll take James Conner here. I think if he gets the Kenyon Drake role and stays healthy for 12 or 13 games, he'll probably get enough goal line carries that he'll be somebody that cracks the starting lineup ahead of, maybe somebody like Kareem Hunt or something like that. He'll crack the starting lineup enough times that I think he'll be a value for us there in the middle of the 9th round. A couple Bucks, Leonard Fournette and Antonio Brown go off the board. Antonio Brown possibly should have been the pick to give us, 4 wide receivers. Antonio Brown being our 5th wide receiver. That might have been fine. Ronald Jones goes. So back to back Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fournette, Brown, Ronald Jones. McCole Hardman at the 9-9. The 909, sorry. I don't like when people say 9-9. Unless you're talking about Brooklyn 9-9, and then it's fine. McCole Hardman is somebody who, with the departure of Sammy Watkins, has there's a world that exists where he steps up into a really nice role for the Chiefs this year. I think, again, I'll reference a podcast that I listened to, the CBS podcast. Jamie Eisenberg was on there and said, at this point, the Chiefs kind of know what they have with McCole Hardman. He's not somebody that they want to give a featured role to, 110, 115, 120 targets, something like that. He is not that guy for them. If Tyreek Hill goes down, McCole Hardman can do a poor man's imitation of him and keep that offense moving in the way that they want it to, so he's certainly a valuable piece for them. But I don't think... Boy, was it Jamie Eisenberg? It might have been the Fantasy Pros Dynasty podcast, and it might have been Mike Taggs. Oh, sorry if I attributed that to the wrong person. It might have been Mike Taggs, though. Goodness sakes. Ooh, we're getting back close. So McCole Hardman, not a bad pick in best ball. If he does ascend to that role, or if Tyreek Hill gets hurt, him at the 909 is going to be pretty nice for that team. Zach Moss goes, Laviska Shenault, Trevor Lawrence, Michael Pittman, Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Dillon, and Darrell Henderson with the next few picks there. We are, 2 picks away? Who are we looking at here? Ooh, Corey Davis, definitely somebody on my list. He's probably going to be the number 1 in New York, you have to assume. And with the way that he played last year, and honestly, he is somebody who, in the sheets that I keep, the stats that I keep, my spreadsheets and things, he grades out very well every year. He certainly has not gotten the, you son of a gun, Cheez-Its in my mouth. Took my Corey Davis. All right, now we got to pivot, and I can't talk about Corey Davis. Son of a gun. All right, we don't have any 49ers to stack with Trey Lance, but we do need a second quarterback. Let me just click him just in case. Any tight ends here? Tunyon, Ingram, Ferkser, Troutman, Jonnu Smith. We can probably get Jonnu Smith on the comeback here. Yeah, let's take Trey Lance. Just that upside at the end of the year I think is going to be pretty nice. With what he has the ability to do with his legs, God forbid he starts a majority of the season, then I think he's going to be insane for us. But he certainly at the end of the year, if and when he takes over, I thought there was something on my microphone. If and when he takes over, the things that he can do in that offense, I think he's going to put up a lot of really, really nice weeks for us. Kenyon Drake goes at the 10.09. Mike Williams at the 10.10. Going back to Corey Davis to kind of finish my point there, he grades out very well at the end of the year. Certainly not somebody who's gotten a lot of opportunity. The offense that he played in with Mariota was putrid, so not the best situation for him. The situation in New York is probably not super, super awesome, but certainly better than what he had. And then in the year that last year when he had Ryan Tannehill, that was Ryan Tannehill's first full season, right? Where's this at? Boom. Hey, come on now. Wait for it. Tannehill, 2019. Yeah, 2019 was the season that he came in and lit it up. So last year was his first full season. So it's full season with... Ooh, we're on the clock again. Marvin Jones. Jeez. I'm doing too much talking and too much researching. So yeah, like Corey Davis in his rookie season, 65 targets, and then in 2019, only 69 targets. He did only play 11 games in his... He did only play 11 games in his rookie season. So 65 targets, I guess, isn't ridiculous, but he's been very efficient with what he's been given each year. So somebody that I could see being good in New York, and somebody that I'm happy to have on my team. Except for I don't have him on my team because somebody stole him from me. All right, getting back into this, we're 12 picks away, so we got plenty of time. And we'll get to the Marvin Jones pick that I just made. So Kenyon Drake goes, Mike Williams, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards, yeah, certainly somebody solid to have on your team. Mike Gesicki, David Johnson, Justin Fields. That's certainly a really nice one to have. It's the third pick of the 11th round. Latavius Murray, if something happens to Alvin Kamara, or if they lean more on their running game this year than they have in the past now that they don't have Drew Brees. Certainly Latavius Murray, not bad. And then we take Marvin Jones, who I do think, honestly, has a chance to be the number one or really close to the number one as the number two in Jacksonville this year with Trevor Lawrence. You know, he's the veteran. He's somebody that Lawrence might be able to lean on more than you DJ Charks. Boy, who else is on that team? Goodness sakes. Still 6 picks away. We're not going to get auto-picked again. DJ Chark. Oh, yeah, Laviska Shenault. And, man, that's really about it. Certainly, you know, Tim Tebow, obviously. But I do think Marvin Jones has potential for over 100 targets in this offense. And when that happens, really good things happen for him. So, Marvin Jones, somebody I am certainly happy to have on the team here. All right, 4 picks away. Let's keep it moving. Tunyon, Bateman, Parker, Mooney. Mooney, somebody who I do expect to have a step-up year this year here for Chicago. Better quarterback play, whether it's Dalton or Fields, and he he was really, really cooking people on the field last year, but man, they would just sail balls over his head when he was wide open. Super unfortunate, but yeah, Darnell Mooney, somebody who I expect to be more of a household name this year. Nyheim Hines, Henry Ruggs, he's another person who I do like this year. They used him really awfully, really poorly. Let's go with that. Ooh, we're on the clock. All right, Jamal Williams, Evan Ingram, Ferkser, Russell Gage. Let's put him on the list here. Jonnu Smith's gone. Show me the tight ends. Ooh, no, Jonnu Smith's there. All right, do we want Russell Gage or Jonnu Smith? We don't have any tight ends yet. Yeah, let's take Jonnu Smith and see if we can get Russell Gage on the swing around there. So let's jump back up to us here. Tua and Baker Mayfield gone. T.Y. Hilton gone. Gabriel Davis, Jalen Reagor, Adam Troutman. We take Jonnu Smith as our first tight end. We'll probably want to get like Jared Cook, certainly reasonable. Blake Jarwin's still there. We could stack him up with our Dak Prescott. Yeah, Blake Jarwin. Heck yeah. All right, so after we take Jonnu Smith, Rondale Moore goes, Kirk Cousins, Nelson Aguilar, Jamal Williams. We're 4 picks away. And Russell Gage is still there. Russell Gage, in the games where Julio was down, he was quite good last year. Let's pull him up and I'll spout some. Russie? Nah, that's not how you spell it. 2 S's, not 2 E's. All right, Russell Gage. Towards the end of the year, I know he was in my lineup a handful of times. Yeah, 4 of his last 5 games, he had 13 points, 18 points, 15 points, and 20 points. There was a 4-point game in there in Week 16 against Kansas City. But yeah, Russell Gage is somebody who, if Julio leaves, he's going to step into a much better role, and he's gonna look real nice. Hopefully, he's still there for us. He is. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take Russell Gage here. Let's see if we can get Blake Jarwin 12 picks from now. Boom, Russell Gage. All right, so how does our team look right now, and what do we need? So right now, let's look at on the screen here. That way you can follow along. So we've got Dak Prescott and Trey Lance. I probably want to get another quarterback. Carson Wentz, awesome. Deshaun Watson, somebody who I do like to take towards the end of drafts, because if he does play this year, he's going to be a hell of a value. Cam Newton and Taysom Hill, both people. Jameis Winston, certainly too, but I do honestly think that Taysom Hill is more likely to win that starting job. Maybe Jameis, but Taysom Hill seems like he fits more what they want to do. He fits better with what it is that they're doing right now in New Orleans. So, yeah, we do have still a handful of quarterbacks that we can take and still feel pretty good with. We've got 4 running backs: Saquon, David Montgomery, Kareem Hunt, and James Conner. I feel pretty good about that. The other running backs that are still around right now: Penny Lindsay, Chuba Hubbard, somebody that we might be taking at the very, very end. If Christian McCaffrey goes down, Chuba Hubbard probably steps into a pretty nice role. Same thing with Darrynton Evans, exactly the same story if Derrick Henry goes down. Jeff Wilson, he's out for a year, so we're running pretty low on running backs to take. Damian Williams, since we've got David Montgomery, he's the handcuff for us. Javian Hawkins, somebody who might take over for Mike Davis. I don't think in a featured role because he's just too small to be getting all those kinds of touches. But Javian Hawkins is somebody who might have some decent value if Mike Davis kind of starts to trail off. So a couple of running backs that we can take. We'll probably only take, what are we in the 14th round here? So we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We got 5 picks left. We'll probably take maximum 1 more running back. For receivers, we've got Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Will Fuller, Devontae Smith, Marvin Jones, Russell Gage. I absolutely love it. And then we've only got the 1 tight end. So We will need to take probably another running back. I'd like to take another quarterback. We definitely need another tight end, maybe two, which that's 5 picks there. If we take 2 tight ends, a quarterback and a running back, that's 5 picks. But we'll see how the board comes to us. I'm not going to force anything. All right, we're up. Do we have... All right, Blake Jarwin went. Yeah, he went a while ago. All right, so I don't see anybody at tight end that I'm super amped about. I don't see anybody. All right, we got to take. Let's take Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, we'll take Chuba Hubbard. So if Christian McCaffrey goes down, we've got a superstar here in the 14th round, back end of the 14th round. I don't hate that. Let's put some players in our queue here so we don't have to kind of search around so much. So Deshaun's somebody that I'd like. Cam Newton, like I said. Taysom Hill. So those will be the quarterbacks that we'll look at. For the remaining running backs, we just took one, so I think I'm probably good on running backs, but I'll put another like Javian Hawkins and Darrington Evans in there. Damian Williams is still in there too. We'll put him on the list just in case something goes haywire for us here. Who do we got here left for receivers? Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's reasonable. Hoofa. Deshaun Jackson in years past would have been somebody I would have loved to have, but not so much at this point, my guy. Yeah, wide receivers they've been hit pretty hard. And for remaining tight ends, all right, Gronk just goes. I was just about to click on him. Gronk's out of here. O.J. Howard, still somebody we can take. Dalton Schultz, nah. Hayden Hurst, nah. Tim Tebow, I doubt it. Jack Doyle, maybe somebody that we can look at as well. All right, so we got a decent queue here. And like I said, we're going to be looking for. We got 4 picks left now. We're looking for another quarterback, another tight end. And then if we like the value at running back or wide receiver, we'll take one of those. Given that we're so far away from the season and whether Taysom Hill is the starter or not is up in the air so much, I think I'm going to take Cam Newton because I do think that he's at least going to start the year, which could get us off to a good start. Yeah, let's take Cam. Cam will start the year and get us off to a good start, and then Trey Lance may end the year for San Francisco. So between the two of them, we'll have some overlap there, and that'll be pretty sweet. If Deshaun Watson is still there at the end of the draft, we may take a 4th quarterback, though I kind of doubt it. Bryan Edwards goes off the board, and then Zach Wilson. In this range, we had Carson Wentz went at the end of the 14th. That is too bad. Oh, sorry, the start of the 14th. That's how snake drafts work. That's why he wasn't there when we took Chuba Hubbard. Rashad Perryman got taken just after Chuba Hubbard. He's somebody who has every chance to be the number 1 in Detroit there. John Brown also went at the back of the 14th round. He or Henry Ruggs, I think, will be the number 1 receiver, not the number 1 target. That'll be Darren Waller for sure. But John Brown, I do expect to still put up some fantasy relevant numbers. So having him in a best ball league, I like it a lot. At the end of this, I think I'll go over kind of each team and see what we do and what we don't like from my personal preferences. So we had Bryan Edwards, Zach Wilson, KJ Hamler. Not bad. You know, if he's going to have a game where he takes one to the house, you know, long touchdown or something like that. So he'll probably have a week or 2, maybe 3, where he sneaks into your lineup, and in the 15th round, that seems fine. You know, if he's going to give you a week where he's one of your best options, that seems pretty fine in the 15th round. Demarcus Robinson, I don't see it. You play with Patrick Mahomes, anything could happen, I suppose. Then we got Tyrell Williams, Austin Hooper, Cole Kmet, and Jacoby Myers. Getting into the last couple of rounds here. Kenny Gainwell goes to the man that owns Miles Sanders. Nope, just a handcuff. And like I've talked about, I don't even know if Kenny Gainwell is the handcuff. I mean, they've got Kerryon Johnson. Kenny Gainwell may be ahead of Jordan Howard, but I don't know. He's not the direct handcuff in my opinion. The ghost of A.J. Green goes, followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is another person who could be the number one receiver for Detroit. Who the hell knows? Mike Boone, not about that pick. I think that's just a wasted pick. It's going to be Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon here in Denver. Amari Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, Amari Rodgers certainly has upside. Could put himself in that number 2 role. Nobody else on the team between Lazard, MVS, and Equanimeous St. Brown have taken that number 2 role. They've each been given their shot at it, but none of them have taken it. So Amari Rodgers, he could certainly reach for that golden ring. Golden ring? Brass ring. Golden ring. I think it's golden ring. And take that number 2 position. Olamide Zaccheaus, wide receiver for Atlanta, goes at the 16:07. Ooh, and that's us. That's us back on the clock. 5 seconds. All right, good thing we got people picked here. Let's take Javian Hawkins. We did it. So now we've got 6 running backs. I don't like to be in this position. If I had been paying more attention, I think we would have another receiver instead of Kareem Hunt. Let's put a pin in that. Let's look who went around Kareem Hunt that I probably should have taken. I know I talked about Will Fuller as somebody that I wanted, but we did end up getting him anyway. So let's see what else. If we had taken Will Fuller there, maybe we would have gotten another receiver instead of Will Fuller in the following round. But anyway, we'll look at that when we get back. I think we've got one more quarterback or one more running back than I would normally like. Maybe even 2 more than I would normally like. But our receivers are super, super good, I feel like. I feel good about this team, even though we auto-picked twice. Because I'm a knucklehead. So after Javian Hawkins goes Kadarius Toney, somebody who, he's pretty electric with the ball in his hands. So, could he do something a couple of weeks, kind of like a KJ Hamler, not in the same style, but the same type of production, insofar as a couple of weeks where he does something ridiculous with the ball in his hands and ends up with, a huge play that puts him into your lineup for that week. Certainly, there's every chance that he could do that. Like I said, he's pretty electric once he's got the ball in his hands, but I just don't know how often he's going to have the ball in his hands. So in the 16th round, probably not a horrendous pick. Emmanuel Sanders then goes. Salvon Ahmed, who may or may not be the starting running back for the Dolphins at some point this year. Jameis Winston, the bet that he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints, and if he is in the 16th round, steal of a deal. Tariq Cohen, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Dwayne Eskridge go next. We are on deck here. I do want another tight end, so I think I'm going to take O.J. Howard here. Yeah, I'm going to take O.J. Howard here. One thing I didn't mention when I took Jonnu Smith, since we have Cam Newton, or I guess when I took Cam Newton, since we have Jonnu Smith, we've got that stack as well. So Jonnu Smith, somebody who I've always been impressed with his athleticism. So, adjusting, knocking things around. Cam Newton may benefit from a nice yards after catch run by Jonnu Smith, and then I get all of the points from the passing yards and the receiving yards for that. So stacking that up pretty nice. So we've got Dak and Amari Cooper, and we've got Cam Newton and Jonnu Smith stacked up. Not too bad. We've got one more pick left. I might take Jack Doyle. Ooh, Deshaun Watson just went. That's some upside there in the 17th round. If he starts for any team this year, Deshaun Watson in the 17th round, yes, please. So we don't have any New Orleans players, so Taysom Hill doesn't stack up with anybody for us that way. Get these out of here. Yeah, nobody else at quarterback that we'd really want. Taysom Hill's the only one, and I don't really think we're going to pull the trigger on Taysom Hill. Let's get him out of here. Darrington Evans and Damian Williams. I don't want another running back on this team. So Jack Doyle, I think, is going to be the best. Yeah, I don't really want Eric Ebron. Zach Ertz, depending on where he goes, might be fine. Herndon, Mo Alley Cox, Dawson Knox, Dalton Schultz. Yeah, Jack Doyle is my next favorite tight end. I think Carson Wentz certainly loves the tight end, and I think Jack Doyle is the best one on that team. I've had a love affair with Jack Doyle for some time now, so maybe that's a little bit of bias, but who's to say? And for the wide receivers that are left, there's Nico Collins. If somehow Deshaun Watson ends up back in Houston, Nico Collins might have some nice upside. Anthony Miller, somebody that I wouldn't mind having. Byron Pringle, he might be the guy for the Chiefs. That was also in, the more I think about it, I think it was the Fantasy Pros Dynasty podcast where they were talking about Mecole Hardman and his value in Dynasty, and I think it was Yates that mentioned that Byron Pringle is the guy who he thinks is the most likely to ascend. All right, so we're on the clock. What are we doing? I don't see maybe Tutu Atwell, but nah, I'm cool passing on Tutu Atwell. All right, so it's going to come down to Byron Pringle or Jack Doyle. Do I want a seventh receiver or do I want another tight end? Given the tight ends that we have, Jonnu Smith and O.J. Howard, I think I'm going to lean that way. So I think we're going to take Jack Doyle. Like I said, we'll hit the wide receivers again, but Ridley, Cooper, Fuller, Smith, Jones, and Gage. When we start three receivers plus a flex, I am very confident that I will have at least three of them who will comfortably fill those three wide receiver roles for us. I'm very, very comfortable with those guys. So I don't think we need another receiver here. So we'll take that third tight end, and like I said, just play the game of hoping one of them catches 50 yards and a touchdown. If I can get 11 plus whatever, how many catches that is, for a tight end, it might be 2, it might be 6. It's hard to say. So if I can get 11 plus points out of my tight end each week, I feel pretty good with that. Like I said, I'm really happy with our wide receivers, and we'll have 2 starting running backs each week, and then the upside with Chuba Hubbard and Javian Hawkins. I do like that. So we got the last pick going off here. Taking their sweet time. Who were they? Me? I'll get the draft board pulled over here, and we'll kind of scroll through that. All right. So here's our overview. Our team exposure: we've got 3 Falcons, we've got 2 Cowboys, 2 Patriots, and then 1 each of a bunch of different teams. Week 6 and Week 14 are going to be our Bipocalypse. So who do we have on bye in Week 14? That's going to be Cam Newton. But we've got Dak and Trey Lance both playing, so that's fine. Who else in Week 14? Will Fuller and Devonta Smith, but those are only 2 receivers that are on bye, so that's fine. Jack Doyle and Jonnu Smith are both on bye in Week 14, so that's something to know, is that in Week 14, we are going to very much be counting on O.J. Howard. Let's see who the Bucs play in Week 14. Bucs schedule 20-21. Looks like Buffalo. So, yeah, O.J. Howard, he might be just fine in that one. You expect that one to be a higher scoring one anyway, and it's at home. Yeah, I think we'll be all right with O.J. Howard in Week 14. And then Week 6 was the other one that we have a lot of exposure to on the bye week. Trey Lance is on bye that week, but we've got Dak and Cam still, so that's fine. Javian Hawkins, that's fine. Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley. Boy, with Ridley and Gage, I would have liked to have had Matt Ryan but what can you do? He's somebody that I need to pay more attention to. I don't ever put him in my queue, but the way that I draft, I do end up with a lot of exposure to Atlanta. So Matt Ryan is maybe somebody that, for my personal preferences, I need to prioritize more. So anyway, Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage, but we've still got our other 4 receivers. Feel pretty fine with that. Yeah, I don't think we're in too bad a shape with our bye weeks here. Maybe just our tight ends in week 14, but that's all right. All right. So where we'll close. All right, so we're projected for 2,800 points, which it looks like they do not like our team very much, unfortunately. I bet you we've got people who are projected for 3,300, maybe more than that. All right. So our guy who picked first, he's projected for 2,853, 2,870 for Pizza Cat, 2,905, 2,951. So yeah, we're certainly not at the very, very top, but yeah, we're actually more in it than I thought. There we go. There's a 3,000 here. All right, so B-Bell. See, it's funny. This is the guy that I said was going to have a low projection because his man, I do not understand. I do not understand how this guy has the best projection. We'll look at his team a little bit more in depth here in just a moment. We'll see if he does end up with the actual highest projection, which was 3,002. 2,852. 2,833. So yeah, we're right in the middle of that pack with the projections at least. But we're gonna blow those projections away. 2,920. 2,859, and last but not least, Wu-Tang Killer Bees. There we go. This is the guy with the highest projection. So we'll look at this and B-Bell. So for his bye week exposure, week 6 and 14, just like us, that is us on the right. This is our overview still. Good Lord. So we don't have that information. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through it. So he's got Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Carson Wentz, certainly decent quarterbacks. Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, Travis Etienne, Tony Pollard, and Ramondre Stevenson. Having Tony Pollard, you like to see that. If Z goes down, that's going to be huge for him. Mixon, Sanders, and Etienne. His number 2 running back week to week is probably going to be weaker than most people's RB2 would be my guess. But it seems fine. We got Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, DJ Chark, Michael Pittman, Cole Beasley, Paris Campbell, Jacoby Myers. I like our receivers better, personally. Devontae Adams, if Aaron Rodgers leaves or sits, Devontae Adams is going to dip, and this guy's projections are going to go decidedly down. Having Pittman and Campbell is the same thing I was talking about. We kind of did the same thing with having Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley, but it means that whoever's scoring the points for their team, they're going to get it. But you can't stack them because they're not both going to catch a touchdown on the same play. So it limits the upside of your receivers having 2 from the same team. So like I said, we are guilty of that as well. So I can't really talk, but. And then who do we got for tight ends? Troutman, Kmet, and Uzama. I do not understand how this is the highest projection in the league. I don't get it at all. Like his third receiver, man, I don't know. I don't like this team. Let's look at B-Bell. I know I talked about how I didn't like his team either. He's got Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Zach Wilson. Love it. Absolutely love it. Russell Wilson is going to, except for Russ and Tom Brady are both on bye in week 9. So in week 9, he's counting on Zach Wilson. Week 9 is going to be a tough one for you, my guy. But other than that, Russell Wilson and Tom Brady will be a very, very solid. Man, got an itchy nose today. Russell Wilson and Tom Brady will be a very, very solid 1-2 quarterback for you. Like I said, he went a little hard on the running back, so kind of the opposite criticism of the last guy who didn't go hard enough, and his RB2 is going to be a little bit weak. I think he's going to have decent running backs that are on his bench every week. between, Clyde Carson and Mostert, they're probably each going to compete for that RB2 spot for him. The other two will probably be fine and still end up on his bench. Who's he got for receivers? I mean, it's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong. You like for your RB2 to be competitive to the point that they're all kind of in that upper echelon and fighting for that number 2 running back spot on your best ball team. We got Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett, Antonio Brown, Bateman, Hilton, Roger Slayton, Guyton. So Robinson and Tyler Lockett, absolutely fantastic. Antonio Brown, if he plays the same kind of role that he did at the end of the year for a full year with Tom Brady, awesome. He's got the Lockett and Wilson stack and the Brady and Antonio Brown stack. Very, very well done. I like that a lot. So I see why he's got the high projection here. He's also got Chris Carson. So the passing touchdowns that Russell Wilson throws to Chris Carson, the 3 or 4-ish that Chris Carson will get, he'll get double credit for it from Russell Wilson. So Chris Carson, those games will probably be his RB2, and he'll get double credit for it from Russell Wilson. So excellent job stacking here. Really, really, really good stuff. He's got Irv Smith and Anthony Firkser for his tight ends. Not ideal, but it's probably fine with the role that Anthony Firkser's maybe got there. They're certainly doing a lot of praising of Anthony Firkser. He's certainly pretty involved in OTAs according to the media, so could be fine. I do like this guy's team a lot. He did a really good job of stacking. I don't like Russell and Brady being on bye in week 9. I think his week 9 is going to be kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. He's also, since he stacked his receivers as well, it means he's also got Tyler Lockett and Antonio Brown on bye in week 9. So week 9 is not going to be it for him. He's probably not going to put up a good one in week 9, but overall, yeah, pretty nice. Let me see what our other guy that had the high score, the Wu-Tang Killer Bees, how did he stack? He's got Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, so that's certainly nice. Boy, is that. He's got Lawrence and Wentz. He's got Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman. Okay, so that makes that a little bit more sense. And DJ Chark to stack with Trevor Lawrence. So, okay. No stack with his tight ends. So, yeah, I mean, I guess. I think B-Bell is likely to have the better team. I don't know. Even though he stacked it, it's like these aren't stacks that are like Rodgers and Adams. If they do play together, that stack is going to be nice, but the likelihood that they play together at this point, it just seems to keep dropping. So we'll see if that ends up being a stack. If they don't, this projection, like I said, is gonna drop real precipitously. So one more look at our team. Oh, and like I said, we were going to look at that Kareem Hunt pick. So let's actually do that real quick. Let me bring the draft board back in. Oop. All right, so here's us. And we took Kareem Hunt here. So this is round 6, so it's going to the left. So the people that went in between Kareem Hunt and Will Fuller: Chase Edmonds, Robbie Anderson, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Tyler Boyd, Deebo Samuel, Javonte Williams, Trey Sermon, and then, of course, we took Will Fuller. So I mean, the receivers that went: Robbie Anderson, Deebo Samuel, Tyler Boyd. Robbie Anderson maybe would have been nice. We could have taken our second quarterback, but taking back-to-back quarterbacks there, I don't think I would have done. So, yeah, it's possible if I had taken Will Fuller there, we could have maybe taken Trey Sermon the next round, and that would have been all right. Honestly, I'm not too mad about how it ended up. I do think that where did Matt Ryan go? That is something that we should have. There's Matt Ryan. start of round 10, the second pick of the 10th round. So, yeah, I think I probably should have taken Matt Ryan over James Conner at the start of the 9th round. I think that's one that I really wish that I could have back, because then we would be able to stack Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley with Matt Ryan. I think that's the pick that I really don't like. Yeah, I think that's the one that I really don't like. So something to every time that you do these, that's the thing I love about these, is that every time that you do these, you're learning something a little bit more. And the key is, don't finish one and be like, okay, that's done and I'm done with it, and we never think about it again until we come back and see whether or not this thing made me some money. Each of these that you do, try and take something away from it. Every mock draft that you do, every best ball draft that you do, is a chance to learn. And take away something from it. So that's going to do it for the show today. If you are listening to the podcast as we usually do, I certainly appreciate it. And we'll end the YouTube video the same way that we end the podcast. And we'll end the podcast the same way that we're going to end the YouTube videos. And that's the shameless self-promotion. If you're new to the channel, I guess everybody's new to the channel, but if you're new to the show itself, check out the website, thefantasytheory.com. Follow me on Instagram at thefantasytheory and on Twitter at fantasytheory1. Twitter only gives you 15 characters, and The Fantasy Theory is 16 characters, so you hate to see it. Can't get one more character out of them. Terrible, terrible stuff. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and now, obviously, on YouTube. So if you are a podcast listener, I certainly would appreciate you getting on Apple Podcasts, leaving us a review. It really, really helps out the show. If you are watching this on YouTube, also leave the review on Apple Podcasts. It again, really helps the show. And if you're listening to it on the podcast, do the following for the YouTube. Please make sure to like the video. That tells YouTube that you like what you saw, you want to see more of it, and it moves us up the list, gets it in front of the eyes of other people. So please do leave a like on the video. And if you do want to get notified when each video comes out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well. That will do it for this week. So thank you very much for either watching or listening. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.